Hello, so we'd like to look at the second section of the third exam or third practice exam. Let's look at them together. So first, the question is Jane owns 7 hats and then they're all different from one another, and she owns 4 coats. Now, how many different combinations of one hat and one coat can be chosen? Simply, we're looking at 7 choices and 4 choices. Now, we can set them one hat can have 4 different coats, so basically all we have to do is 7 times 4, which is equal to 28. That becomes the number of choices that we have for Jane. Alright, so which will be choice C. Let's move on to the next question, number 2. Now here we have 2 expressions given in this way. Now, what is the value of Z? Notice that y minus 3 is common, so if you multiply left and right side by y minus 3, we end up getting 4 over 1 is equal to 6 over z. Now, by cross multiplying them, we get 4z must be equal to 6, hence z is equal to 6 over 4, which will be equal to 3 over 2. So that becomes choice D. Alright, let's look at the third question. What is the smallest number of interchange of the adjacent numbers? So basically we have to switch the 2 numbers at the same time, so that the first 5 odd integers will be in increasing order. So first we realize that 9 has to go all the way over here and 1 has to come to the front. Then we can do that by one move, by having 1 9 7 5 3. Of course 1 has to go all the way over here, so second move would have been 1 7 9 5 3, and third move will make 1 7 5 9 3. I'm moving 9 all the way to the other side, so 4 will be 1 7 5 3 9. Now next one is 7 has to go over here and 3 has to come, so fifth move will make 1 5 7 3 9 and 1 5 3 7 9. See, I'm trying to push the 7 to the next next to the last placement. Now the sixth move. Seventh move will make 3 and 5 exchanged, so 1 3 5 7 9. So it will take us 7 move to list these numbers into the right places. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Now n is between 1 to 2. Then we are looking at 1 over n, and 1 over n radical n, and 1 over n cubed. So those are the 3 things that which we have. Let's see what happens. One thing that which we get to realize is between when you compare 1 over n versus 1 over n cubed. Now we can multiply each side by n cubed. Then you will realize that this becomes, since we have question mark, n square, and then 1 is what we have. Now that's by multiplying each side by n cubed. Then one thing which we get to realize here is since n is between 1 to 2, if you square any one of those numbers, will be greater than 1. Therefore we realize this is greater. This tells us that 1 over n has to be greater than 1 over n cubed. Now, so that's one thing that has been settled. Then let's try to look at the next one. Between 1 over n radical n versus 1 over n cubed. Now, once again, the biggest exponent is 3, so what if we multiply by n to the third power in both cases? Then what we end up getting is this one becomes simply 1, this one becomes n cubed over n radical n. So n cancels out, becomes n squared. If you rationalize the denominator by multiplying by n on each top and bottom, we get to have n square radical n over n. So n cancels out, which we end up getting n radical n. Now, once you plug in the number in between 1 to 2 in this location, this will be always greater than 1. So we realize that 1 over n to the third power would be the smallest one. Only thing that's possible will be choice D, and then that becomes our answer. Now, second way for us to do this one will be graphing each one of them into the graphing calculator. Then you will realize that 1 over n is the highest. Now, on this particular question, just plugging in a number in place of n, such as 1.5, would have worked. Now, but plugging in is not the best way at all times. The best way for us to do it is through algebraic expressions. So that's the route which we have taken. All right, let's look into number 5 together. Here, this is a new symbol question. X and half moon and y is equal to this this expression here, and where c is the positive, which of the following is equal to this one. So let's try to simplify this one and see what happens. So according to this definition, first one has to be doubled and second one has to be 3 over that value. So this becomes, first one has to be doubled, so 2c plus 3 over, second one has to be the denominator, so 2 over c. Now that becomes 2c plus 3 times c over 2 by multiplying by its reciprocal, which becomes 2c plus 3 over 2c. When you combine them together, it becomes 2 and 3, so it becomes 7 over 2. See, that's basically what we end up getting. Choice B becomes our answer. Number 6. Now here we are looking for x plus y, but one of the things which we can do is this. Given that this is angle A, what do you realize about the other angle? That becomes 180 minus A. Likewise, what do you realize about that angle? That's the 180 minus C. Now, so in this case, one thing that which we get to realize is this angle B, and so as angle D, are exterior angle of the triangle. And what do you realize? Exterior angle is the sum of non-adjacent angles. So therefore, we get to realize that B is equal to 180 minus A plus X. And D becomes 180 minus C plus Y. Since we are looking for X plus Y, if you have to add them up, then we end up getting B plus D equals 180 minus A minus C plus X plus Y plus 180. So why don't I just write this one as 360. Then here, having x, y alone and then moving all the other things to the other side, we have A plus B plus C plus D. They're all moving onto the left side. Minus 360 must be equal to x plus y. And hence that becomes our answer, which is choice E. Alright, let's move on to the next question. So point E is the midpoint of AC, and what is the probability that the randomly selected point from the interior of the square ABC will fall into the shaded region? So I believe this is the shaded region. So what do you realize about this section? If I were to put up one line right over here, and then one line over here, and if I just cross it down over here, then you will realize that this is 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pieces of the identical triangles. So therefore, our answer will simply becomes 1 out of 8. That becomes our answer. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Number 8. Here, so we're looking for the stop signs here. For example, according to the reading, we have in the middle, we will be needing 4 stop signs. Here we will be needing 3 because 3 lines are coming together. Here we have 2. Now, but larger town is set up in the same manner, but has 4 blocks by 3 blocks. Now, 4 blocks by 3 blocks, then what's going to be happening? So, let us say we have so let us say this becomes our block altogether. I'm just going to make it smaller here a little bit. Alright, that means here we have this will be 2 because we have two rows meeting up together, so as to right over here all the corners will be 2, which will be exactly the same as the other. Now these T shape will be needing 3 each. Because 3 rows are coming together, and these circled ones inside will be needing 4 stop signs each. So how many 2's do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 times 4. How many 3's do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then total 10 of them. How many 4 stop signs do we have? 6 in the middle. So that when you add them up, that becomes our answer. 8 here, 30 here, 24 here. So therefore we end up getting 62 stop signs will be needed for this larger town. Let's look at number 9 together. Set C is the set of all prime numbers, and set D is the set of all odd numbers between negative 10 to positive 10. What is one number in the intersection? Intersection simply means things that are common in C and D. So we are looking for prime numbers at the same time. It has to be odd between negative 10 to 10, such as 3, 5, 7. In fact, 2 will not be correct because 2 is not an odd integer. So any one of these 3 will be correct answer. Let's look at number 10. You see, in this case, x and y represents digits correctly worked arithmetic problem. But what is the value of x plus y? So now here, we have to realize that what plus 3, because see, whenever we are looking at these kind of questions, make sure you look at the last column and the first column. When you look through the last column here, y plus 3 becomes 8. Since 3 has been increased to 8, only possible choice will be y being equal to 5. Now if y is equal to 5, then you will realize that no number carried over to the next digit. So x plus x being equal to 4, that means we have two choices. Either x can be equal to 2 or 7. Because in either cases, when you add them up, your unit digit will be equal to 4. What if you were to be 2? Then this will be 4, and this will also has to be 4, but we end up having 5. That means 1 was carried over from the previous addition. Then this 4 is not really 4, but it would have been 14. So that tells us that 7 should be the value of x instead of 2. Then when you add them up, we'll end up getting 12. That becomes our answer. Alright, let's look at number 11. What is the greatest integer less than 1000? Now that has both 5 and 8 as a factor. Okay. Then it has to be less than 10,000. So what do we go for? 999. But we realize that it cannot be 999 because it's not divisible by 5. Only possibility would be 995 and 990. But you will realize that it cannot end with 5 either because it has to be a factor of 8. So essentially what we're looking for is numbers that ends with 0. And those are the only possible candidates. So now 990, is that divisible by 8? We know that it is divisible by 5. So if you look into this one, then you will realize that, hey, this in fact is made out of 9 times 110. And then here 9 is equal to 3 and 3. And here we end up getting 2 times 55. And we only have 1, 2. Since the factor only has 1, 2, that means in order for you to have 8 as a factor, you need 3 of 2's. Because 2 times 2 times 2 becomes 8. Or you can use the calculator to divide. So of course 990 didn't work. The next number would be 980. 980, when you look through 980, you will realize that 980 wouldn't be divisible by 8 either. Now how about 970? Also wouldn't work. In fact, one number that will work is 960. Because if you divide 960 by 8, you will get 120. And therefore 960 would have been the correct answer. Now, number 12. The result of decreasing a positive odd integer n by 20%, that means when you reduce it by 20%, that means ultimately we are looking at 80%, which is 0.8 of n. It's between 25 and then 33. That's between 25 and 33. That means we're going to put down 25 and 33 in both ends. What is one possible value of n? So all we have to do is just get rid of this 0.8. How do you do that? All you have to do is simply divide by 0.8. Now, I'm going to just take out my calculator and show you. So here, 25 divided by 0.8. That becomes 31.25, and 33 divided by 0.8. Alright. So those are the two values which we are looking at. So this would be 31.25. That's what n has to be between of. And then 41.25. So any number from 32 all the way up to 41 will be accepted. Alright, let's look into the next. Odd number, so in fact, only possible number has to be 33, 35, 37, 39, and 41. Those are the possible choices, I guess. Alright, let's look at number 13. A box contains brand A hats and brand B hats and nothing else. The cost of the brand A hats is $16, cost of the brand B hats is $7. Alright, the ratio, whenever they say the word ratio, remember it's not really that number, but it can be multiple of those two numbers that's given. It's 3x to 3 to 4. That means this basically tells us that we can say A to B, the ratio between A to B is 3x to 4x, where the cost of A was $16 versus $7. Alright, if the total cost of all hats in the box was 912. So that means when you combine them, it was equal to 912. In other words, 3x times 16, that's how many they sold, plus 4x times 7, when you add them up, it becomes 912. So this portion becomes 48x, and here we have plus 28, x equals to 912. When you combine them together, we get 76, x equals 912. So once you divide by here 912 by 76, then we get 12, as you can see. So then x must be equal to 12. That tells us that how many brand B hats are in the box. That means multiplied x by 12, 4 by 12, then we end up getting 48. So 48 becomes our answer. Number 14. Endpoints of the diameter of a circle in a rectangle coordinates are given in this way. What is the radius of the circle? The best thing which we can do is simply sketch them and then see what happens. Now, I'm just going to exaggerate just a little bit here. So here we have 10, 5. So let us say this is 10, 5. That means this is 10, this is 5. Now, the other endpoint of the diameter is 10, 21. So x value is the same. Y value will be way up there to 21. How about that? That means the midpoint here will be the center. So distance between these two, 21 to 5, would have been 16, which would be the length of the diameter. But we are looking for the radius of the circle. Therefore, radius becomes half of that, which is equal to 8. Number 15. Each of the 9 discs above are numbered with a different integer. We can study it is number 1 through 9, inclusive. So 2 different discs are chosen at random from the disc above. What is the probability that the sum of the numbers on the 2 discs is at least 14? So now let's try to see what happens. The fact that we're going to choose two discs, that means 9C2. If you put that into the calculator, we can put it in as this way, 9. C is basically math, probability right over here. And then NCR, which is number 3, 2. Then you will realize that the number will be 36. So here we have, this is equal to 36. But how many ways can you pick two numbers that are greater than 14? So let's try to make a quick list here. If you have 9, which numbers are possible? At least 14, that means 14 is allowed. So we are looking at 5 all the way up to 8. If it to be 8 is the highest number, then what's going to be happening is we will have from 6 all the way up to 7. And then if 7 is the highest number, then we don't have any other choice. That's it. So here 6 and 7, 2 choices. And 5 through 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, we have 4 choices here. So total we have 6 choices. So out of 36. So 6 out of 36, basically, which becomes 1 out of 6. That's how we can have at least 14 to be their sum. Alright, let's look at number 16 here. Figure above the three-dimensional has 5 faces and 9 edges. Alright, now, how many different pairs of the vertices can be connected with line segments that are not the edges of the figure? That means if you look through this one, what if I have to pick this particular point as an example? How many lines can I draw? I can connect this one dot with 5 other dots along the line. Now, so as an example, what if I have from here to here? That's one line. But that, in fact, I'm sorry, but that's the edge. How about this point? Yes, it is edge. So is this one. Three of them will always be edge. But something that will work, in fact, is from here to here, this corner. That will work because that's not an edge. Next one, from this corner right over here to here. So 2 of them from one particular vertex will not be an edge. Now then, how many vertices? How many vertices do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, total 6. So therefore, 2 times 6, which will be equal to 12. But when you think about each line, in fact, for example, this green line has been counted from this vertex, and so is this vertex. So all we have to do is divide by 2, which becomes 6. 6 becomes our answer. Number 17. In a group of houses, each house has either 2-story or 3-story house. Okay. Now 40% of these houses have 2 stories, and 48% of 4 or more people living on them. So when you think about it, we are actually looking into 2 different categories here. Whether houses are 2-story or 3-story house. And then either the house has 4 or more people living in them, or 3 or fewer people living in them. So I call this one as a 2 category questions. In that case, basically what we can do is just plot 3 lines by 3 lines, as you can see over here. 1 line, I'll just use this one, regular line, 2 lines, and 3 lines. And here, 1 line, 2 lines, and 3 lines over here. Alright, so we can just fill out the categories as you see fit here. So we have 2 stories or 3 stories. So 2 story, I'm going to put 2s. 3 story will be 3s. Now, second thing is 4 or more people living in them. So 4 or more people living in them, or 3 or few people living in them. So that's the kind of 2 categories which we are looking at. One way or the other, since they are looking at percent, when you add them up, it has to be equal to 100%. Let's look at it. 40% of these houses have 2 stories. So that means this is 40%. So I'm just going to write down 40. Then that makes this one to be 60%. Now, 48% of all houses have 4 or more living in them. So 48% is right here. That makes this one to be 52%. That's one thing that we should get to realize. And 70% of the 2-story houses, 70% of the 2-story houses. So 70% of 40% has 3 or few people living in them. So that means 70% of 40 becomes 28. So in fact, 28% people, 28% of the people will be living in 2-story, and then 3 or fewer people living in them. Okay, what does that tell us? Whole bunch. Through this one, we get to figure out the rest of them here. Since this is 28, so the other one must be 12. Since this is 12, this must be 36 to add up to 48. Now, since this is 36, this would have been equal to 24. Now, what percent of the all houses are 3-story houses with 4 or more people living in them, which will be right over here? The answer is 36%. Alright, let's look at number 18. So this is what we have. What is Q of 1? That simply means you gotta plug in this number into the function Q as it is given here. So that means what is Q of 1? That's 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 8. What is this equal to? 1 minus 4 plus 8. Then this becomes 5. So the next one becomes, this one should be equal to Q of 5. Now once you plug in 5 in place of Q, we end up getting 5 squared minus 4 times 5 plus 8. Then here we get 25 minus 20 plus 8, which becomes 13. So 13 becomes our final answer. Alright, that's it. We'll stop here and have a great day. Bye-bye.